Welcome back, students. You have reached the end of our Big 6 lesson. With you, as always, is your friendly neighborhood librarian, Mr. Wolf, and I just wanted to congratulate all of you on your hard work in the library today. Today, we really panned for gold for your research questions. We looked at a lot of different information sources, and you all were able to, again, pick through what was there and come up with the best sources to help you answer your research questions. We used the Big 6 steps, and we were able to evaluate whether sources were credible and accurate. And some of you found out that your first sources that you were looking at may not have been the best ones. And that's why we use these Big 6 steps. In future parts of this research project, I have created a handout for you that goes into depth on the different Big 6 steps, as well as gives you some questions to think about. And at the very end, there are some extra resources if you want to learn more about the Big 6 step process. You can see here, I think it looks fabulous. It gives you a brief definition of what the Big 6 step is, as well as a question to help you kind of focus your mind. You can see that all 6 steps are covered, and it just reminds you that this is a process. This is a model that we use, and it's not something that goes all the time start to finish. Sometimes you have to go back. Maybe the sources you thought were the best weren't. You need to go back and look again. And so it's something that you can use in this class and other classes, or even when you're in the library looking for information. As I said, at the very end of the handout, there are extra Big 6 resources. There are a couple of student-created videos that explain the process, and a couple of more that give you some more in-depth explanation on each of the steps, and more things to think about when you're going through the research and information-seeking process. Before we're all through, let's revisit the Big 6 steps one more time so that you have this going forward. The first Big 6 step is task definition. This is where we are defining what it is we're trying to do, the question we're trying to answer, the problem we're trying to solve, or the decision we're trying to make. A good thing to think about when you're in this step is, what am I trying to answer? You want to make sure your question is not too broad and not too specific. The ones you came in with were great, but if you have other questions about it, please let me or your teacher know. Step 2 is information seeking strategies. And this is where you have to look at all the places where you could find information about your question. A lot of us default to the computer. Oh, I'll put it in Google. I'll look at Wikipedia. And while Wikipedia and a Google search are not necessarily bad when it comes to the research process, you do want to make sure when you're using these strategies, you're finding the best sources to answer your question. Usually teachers, professors, we prefer articles that have been peer-reviewed, people that are experts on the subject or have done a lot of research on a subject to answer our questions. So please be making sure you're knowing exactly what best suits the question you're trying to answer. And something to think about is, what are the different places that you could look at, blogs, websites, articles, and which is the best to answer the question at hand. Step 3 is one of my personal favorites because it's where you actually get to go and seek out that information, whether it's within our collection here in the library using our circulation catalog, or is it on a database where you're searching for articles. You get to do fun keyword searches and things like that, which are more information literacy skills. I like this one because you actually get to get up, move around, and seek out that information. But you want to be thinking about, where is it? Do you need a computer? Do you need the circulation computer? Do you need to just walk around and browse? What's the best way to physically or intellectually collect that information? Another one of my favorite steps is Big Step 4, which is where you actually get to sit down and read your article, listen to that podcast, or view that video, where you actually get to start using the information sources that you have found to pick out the information you need to answer your question or solve your problem. When you're in this step, be thinking, do I need everything from this video? Do I need everything from this article? Or do I just need a paragraph or a piece? This is where we start panning for gold. We've got all these information sources. Let's start sifting through them and start finding the important pieces that we need. Once you have all of your information gleaned from all of your sources. It's time to synthesize, which is Big 6 Step 5. You take all the information you found from your different sources and you start to put it together in whatever format you've chosen to do your research project on. Whether you're writing a paper, or whether you're going to do a presentation or something more interactive like a living museum, something like that. This is where you take that information and start creating your final product. You want to think about what's the best way to organize and display this information. Does it need to be written as a paper? What have you been asked to do? This is where you start taking what you have and putting it in the way you want. And finally, the last Big 6 step is evaluation, where you reflect back on the whole process. The most important question and what you want to think about is, did I do what I was asked? Did I complete this research project the way your teacher asked you to? Another thing to reflect on is, how well did I follow these steps? Was it easy? Was it hard? What threw me? What could I do better next time? Did I spend too much time searching through the physical library collection instead of using keyword searches to find an article in a database? Reflect back on what went well and what didn't, so the next time you're doing this type of research, you know what to change. You've all done a fantastic job to make it this far, and I hope that going through these steps has given you really good insight into how to properly research and use information to answer questions, solve problems, or make decisions. Some things to remember as we go forward, because you'll hear us talking about the Big 6 throughout the library and through your classes as well. This is a process model that helps anyone answer questions, solve problems, and make decisions based on information. When you're looking for answers to your research questions or any question, remember to pan for the gold. Find a lot of different sources and sift through till you find what you need. Look for those important bits, the bits that support what you're trying to say or that answer the question you're trying to ask. And remember that these are information literacy skills, and they're some of the most important skills that you as students are going to be able to learn. We use them every day in the library. We use them every day in our real lives as well. So keep practicing, and thank you for all of your hard work.